of this. We've seen the people take to the streets opposing a military takeover. We've seen the TV stations, as you mentioned before, and now he's back in, as we can see now. So I'm pretty sure that we will find out what he's saying as soon as we can get that information to you. But on your screens you can see Erdogan has flown back to Istanbul after finding out that the military have said that they've seized power in the country. He urged the people to take to the streets, which they did. We've seen many pictures of the people trying to push the military out. It looked like, didn't it, Igor? Some of them, some of those pictures. So yes, that's President Erdogan on your screens now, giving a press conference on the situation.
And military forces have taken over the CNN Turk news channel after soldiers forced their way into the building. Here you can see the channel's employees hurriedly leaving the station. The coup plotters are allegedly planning to cut the broadcast shortly, and according to the latest reports, gunshots were heard inside the studio while still on air, and there could be a hostage situation inside the CNN Turk building. Simultaneously, we're getting the information that a satellite company, Turksat, and a media holding Dogan Media Center have also been stormed by the military troops.
Earlier we received reports that 2 civilians had been killed and several injured during clashes on the Bosphorus Bridge in Istanbul. A standoff escalated when a group of people attempted to cross the bridge despite a military curfew. Eyewitnesses say soldiers blocked the way and opened fire. Crowds have been rallying in both Istanbul and Ankara in support of the government and protesting against the coup. Some protesters have managed to capture armoured vehicles. The White House has released a statement urging everyone in Turkey to support the elected government. We can now cross over to our Washington correspondent, Gayana Chishkan. Gayana, you've been keeping across this story. What's the latest? What's the position the US has taken in the events in Turkey?
President Obama and Secretary Kerry put out a statement saying that the U.S. supports Turkey's democratically elected civilian government. U.S. officials have expressed concern and said that they're still gathering facts, trying to understand who's leading the coup. The U.S. military said that there has been no impact to the counter-ISIL operations from the Incirlik air base, but said that they're taking steps to protect U.S. forces there if necessary. The U.S. also has nuclear weapons deployed in Turkey, so it is certainly watching very closely what's happening there now. Turkey is, of course, a NATO ally. There have been coups in NATO countries in the past, in Turkey and in Greece, and NATO did not ostensibly intervene. Embassies of many countries are now warning their citizens in Turkey to stay home tonight. Avoid public gatherings. As we understand, all flights to Turkey are being cancelled. Turkey has shut down social media. People around the world struggle to understand what exactly is going on there. I'm looking at reactions on social media, and I see that in the West, at least, Erdogan doesn't have many fans. The hashtag Erdogan, ending with G-O-N-E, is gaining traction. People tweet things like, "It's about time." One U.S. Congressman, Brett Sherman, his name, tweeted, "Military takeover in Turkey will hopefully lead to real democracy, not Erdogan authoritarianism," end quote. And many are concerned about the possibility of violence on the streets of Ankara, but in the West, at least, there seems to be little support for the Turkish president himself. That is, again, the reaction I saw on social media. Government officials, though, are putting out statements saying that they support Turkey's democratically elected government.
Yeah, no, but how have other foreign governments been reacting to the situation there so far? What do we know about that?
From what I know, I haven't seen much reaction of foreign governments. Igor.
Okay, this was our Washington, D.C. correspondent, Gayana Chishkan. Thank you for that update. I believe we can now cross live to Edmund Garib, adjunct professor of Middle East history and politics at the American University in Washington, D.C. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And we've seen people taking to the streets in support of Erdogan. How much support do you think he has? We're trying to speak about this to as many people as possible.
Well, clearly the Turkish president has wide support. And this was reflected earlier in the elections, and also it's reflected to a certain extent in the response to his appeal to people, to Turkish people, to go into the streets to oppose this attempted coup. So there are many people. How many? That's very difficult to say. There are also many Turks who are not very happy with his policies and are very critical of his position. They feel that he's moving Turkey away from its secular past, and they think that he is increasing his own personal control. Nevertheless, there is still a great deal of support. The Turkish president during the last election got somewhere close to 50%, and so he has a great deal of support, and they're probably better organized than the opposition. In addition to this, what has emerged also, at least from statements from the political opposition, from the People's Party, which is a secular nationalist party, from the nationalists, and even from the Gulenists, the Fethullah Gulen people who, the supporters of President Erdogan, have said they are the ones who have organized this coup. They also denounced the coup, so as did the other opposition political parties, and they said they are opposed to the military taking over. But there is still some confusion as to what's going on the ground, and probably we'll have to wait to see what's going on. I think a great deal will probably things are going to become much clearer during the coming hours, and maybe during the next 24 hours. But the real issue is going to be, what does this mean for Turkish policy and Turkish politics? Assuming that Turkish president regains control of the situation, this has been a very important, very major challenge to his authority, even if he regains control quickly. And this is going to lead to perhaps a reassessment. And he's going to be forced to focus on the domestic issues inside Turkey, whether we'll see very quick steps taken to punish the officers and the soldiers who tried to launch this coup. And nevertheless, he's going to be focusing on the current situation. And are we likely to see continuation and perhaps even an acceleration of his policy of opening up and trying to improve relations with some of the neighbors? We saw this step vis-à-vis Russia. We saw his efforts to improve relations with Israel. There was talk by the Turkish Prime Minister that even they want to get to some kind of a normal relationship with Syria and Iraq. So we'll have to wait and see. But I believe that regardless of what happens, the Turkish government will have to be focusing in the next weeks and maybe months on the internal situation, because there are a lot of internal challenges. Because even if this coup is defeated, there are political opponents to the policies of the president, and there is also a strong Kurdish movement that's very much opposed also to the policy of the government. The question is he likely to return to the policies he used to pursue before the opening up, before the rapprochement that he tried to reach with some of the neighbors, or is he going to accelerate that? And I think generally this is going to be very crucial, very important to see where Turkey is going to go, or where the Turkish government is going over the next few weeks.
Well, Edmund, it's interesting that you say, which way will President Erdogan go? What we do have here is that reports saying that President Erdogan says those responsible for the coup will pay He says it's a reason to clean up the army. That's from Reuters. And he said those responsible will pay in the harshest way, and says that his holiday house in Marmara was hit after he left. Now, some people that we've had on here, on RT, have been talking about his authoritarian methods being possibly one of the reasons why we don't know how much of the military have created this action, but nevertheless it's been done through discontent. Those words don't seem like he's going to change at all.
Well, first of all, I think we have to expect this kind of a reaction immediately, especially as the situation remains somewhat fluid. He's going to try to mobilize support, and he's going to basically exact punishment on those who launched the coup. But I think once you go past that step, he's also likely to emphasize the need for unity inside Turkey, and probably he might take some steps towards the opposition to try to have more reconciliation. But of course, we have to wait and see which step. If he does continue with the same line as he had in the past, this will mean that defeating the coup, of course, his hands are going to be much stronger. He's going to be in a stronger position to deal with those people who attempted the coup. Nevertheless, this is going to indicate that he has a lot of challenges internally, and he's going to be preoccupied with the internal situation, which means that he may have to look or try to pursue a different policy in the neighborhood. And of course, we'll have to wait and see. We cannot, nobody will know for sure where he's likely to go. But I think probably what he's likely to continue to do, he will pursue a very tough policy against his opponents, especially those people who tried to launch the coup. But at the same time, I think he realizes that he has become somewhat isolated also internationally, and he will need to mend fences with a lot of his neighbors and with other countries in the region and in the world.